Alright, in this video we're going to introduce the basic problem-solving strategy that we're going to use for all of the inference procedures we're going to use in weeks 4 through 8 of this course. There are 4 steps: state, plan, do, and conclude. And they are basically what they sound like. So the very first thing that you're going to do when you read questions that involve statistical inference is you are going to define the population parameter of interest in the problem. Are we talking about a population mean, a population proportion? Are we talking about a categorical variable? What population quantity are we talking about? So define your parameter of interest. And after you've defined your parameter of interest, you should clearly label all given information in the problem. Were you given a sample mean? Were you given a sample size? What is your confidence level? All of the stuff that they give you in the problem that has numbers attached to it, you should write it down and label it with the appropriate symbol or words. Once you've done the state step, once you've parsed through all of the information in the question, you're going to identify what it is you are being asked to do. So you are going to identify the inference procedure that you are being asked to perform. Not producer, procedure. I know how to spell. Sort of. And you're going to write down what the name of that procedure. 1 prop z test. Confidence interval for a proportion, right? Some words that explain what it is you're about to do. If this were the AP exam, or if you were an advanced statistics class, you would then check the conditions that are needed to perform that inference. For us, this step is not needed. This is optional. I believe that your textbook goes over it. If not, I know the Blumen text does, and you can send me an email if you're interested. As practicing statisticians, you should know what the conditions are to perform a certain type of inference on a data set, and you would check them before you do the data analysis. If you are doing a career that is very stats heavy, where you're going to need to do your own analysis, this will be covered in a more advanced statistics class. So for this class, all you need to do is this first part, which is tell me which inference procedure you're using. Z-test, t-test, chi-squared test, what kind of test is going on here? For the do stage, you are going to perform any necessary calculations. And you are going to show your work. We are going to underline that, because if this part is missing, I don't know where your answer came from. It makes it harder to correct mistakes and help you learn from them. So please, on your homework and your tests, show where the numbers came from. If you are doing this on a calculator, for instance, you would write the button presses and then what you plugged in. So for example, if I was calculating a sample mean, which are not, you don't need to write this out, but as an example, I would write down stat, edit, put data in list 1, and then I would write on my second line stat, calc, 1 var stats list 1. It doesn't need to be super detailed, but you need to tell me which functions you were pulling from your calculator, which button presses you used to get there, and what data you plugged in. For functions, it's super important I get the name of the calculator function and any input on these prompts. So you would need to tell me 1var stats on list 1. The other option is to write out the equations. I'm going to show you those in each relevant video, and that would replace the need to write your calculator work down. So it's either show the math with the equations or show the work with the calculator work, one or the other. The last step is, now that you have a number, you need to interpret that number in context of the problem. And that sounds gross, and most people make a frowny face because that means they have to write sentences in math class, and nobody likes having to do that. The upside is all of the inference procedures that we're doing in the next couple weeks have sentence frames that I will give you in the videos. And all you have to do is fill in the missing pieces of the appropriate sentence frame. So for the conclude step, you identify the appropriate sentence frames and then plug and chug. The sentence frames are like training wheels. While you're still developing your statistical skills, they're meant to help you learn what a conclusion should sound like and the moving pieces that should be in a conclusion. As you get more practice with this, hopefully by the end of week 8, you'll feel more confident with what a conclusion should look like, and you will need to rely on those sentence frames a little less. But they are always there. Your tests are open notes, so if you need to look at them, that's totally fine. The next couple of videos, we're going to do some confidence intervals for specific population parameters of interest, and we'll get to see this process in action. If you have any questions on what you just saw, feel free to email me or drop by office hours. Otherwise, I'll see you in those next videos.